Carl here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short. And it's album review time. Tribe of Ghosts, the Brighton-based industrial post-metal four-piece, will release their debut full-length album, City, on October 14th, 2024. A concept album telling the story of a dystopian society living in an unnamed metropolis and how the ruling classes continue to abuse and harvest the population until it is a society of punishment, violence and debauchery, leading to eventual societal collapse. Finally, talk about a long time coming, or it certainly feels like that, but it's sure been worth the wait. This band's evolution is complete, and what stands before us proudly displaying dark dystopian sounds in anthemic style is, in my opinion, one of the best things in British metal. It has been nothing short of a spectacular rise for Tribe of Ghosts over the past few years, but there is no ceiling on this band. Hence, the incredible buzz around this release. Since they started to introduce synth and samples, they have found a new, higher level, and their ambitions are beginning to be realised. Not just by delivering spectacular music, but by creating a concept that fits their style perfectly, and is expressed emphatically here. The word dystopian might be a bit overused, but there's no true way to sum up the sound and feel of this album. It should come as no surprise to Tribe of Ghosts fans, but this album is a triumph, and that is on display from the start. First, with the title track that is darkly ambient, creating a sense of fear and wonder with its display of uncomfortable sounds and growing freneticism. It is the harbinger of things to come, which just so happens to be Hive. 1 year since its release, and it is as necessary listening now as it was back then. Back in August 2023, so longer than a year, I said it was arguably the best track they had ever written. And I stand by that statement, especially as it takes on new life when heard in the context of this album. Coming after the title track, it sounds heavier and feels more frantic and more dangerous than ever. This is the sharp sound of this band, using eccentric and emphatic industrial effects to give their music sci-fi cinematic value. There's so much to love about it as a track, and everyone is playing their hearts out here. But there's no talking about this track and pretty much the entire album without mentioning the vocals. The contrast of soaring clean singing and filthy gutturals is outstanding, and they play off each other in stunning fashion. Massive shout out to both Adam and Becky, you're killing it here. Take a breath though, Stargazer is next, and here's a different tone, one that is more somber, almost reflective in sound, and one drawing clear inspiration from composers like Vangelis and Hans Zimmer. It is fascinating to hear both vocalists singing clean here, and is so impressively hand in hand. It's almost comforting until the shift and a harsh reality sets in. The increasing tempo of electronic that leads to an explosive finale is one of the most brutal moments of the entire record. Although very little can touch the ugly and abrasive synthesis of genres that False Gods offers. This is the sickness within Tribe of Ghosts' Metropolis, and with this track they express the repulsive behaviour from those at the top. An assault on the senses, marrying sounds and effects to ooze a really robust industrial feel, one coated with an old school vibe and paired with that delightful metalized post-style that Tribe of Ghosts have made their own. As much as their use of synths and samples have become integral to their sound, it's important to not forget that post-metal is still at the core of this band, which is expressed strongly through cold and shimmering shifts it has. How about the sudden stomach-churning drop and following melody / soaring vocals that leads to an eruption of nasty sounding belligerence? That's the moment of cold. At this stage, it is fair to call City one hell of an exciting listen, especially with such varied aspects. Yet as much as the more creative stuff is lovable, there's something about a track like Desolation will be their only reward that just works. It's stimulating, it's dangerous, it's dark, it's forceful, with an ending that might be some of the heaviest music the band have put out there so far. With Rain, Tribe and Ghost showcase destruction. Destruction that can't be halted or controlled. It's almost biblical. And with that comes in more epic tone. There's an orchestra of synth and electronica here, but when combined with big guitars and heavy drums, it sounds even more immense. No amount of melody and soft singing can shake the feeling of despair this track has. So many will no doubt be grateful for the peacefulness that the interlude of Dream Gallery offers. It is a very pretty piece of music, but with an underlying sadness that fits the theme perfectly. It helps transition the listener into Float Down, which is one of the more challenging listens, beginning in simple, melodious fashion, quietly layering more elements as the vocals arrive to lead us through some momentary moments of serenity. Yet, there's an underlying trauma that makes things feel tense, paid off when the track transforms into a hefty post-experience. The guitars scream with pent-up emotion and the drums are the equivalent of blood pounding in your temples. It is challenging as it's not obviously accessible as most of the album elsewhere, but goodness, I think it might be the most creative track of all. Let's not wrap up this review too early though. Tribe and Ghost have one more to offer and it begins with some pretty awesome synth. The dark ambience of the album is disappearing, but the gloominess isn't as oppressive on the lesson learnt in silence. There's a finality about this track, and when paired with the previous track, it feels even more important. It is the perfect ending to this album and the story they have told. A story that is displayed in stunning fashion. Few bands are capable of creating the level of immersion that Tribe and Ghost have here. City is an absolute triumph. It is. And they should be so proud of themselves. I fucking love it. And I hope you do too. It is out on October 14th. You know what to do. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website where reviews, news and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at gbhbl. Just search for gbhbl and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.